Hey guys, how's it going today? So what am I working on now? Well, I don't know if you recognize this truck, but I just worked on it about a week ago. This is the one I put the Hydro Boost unit on. It's a Duramax diesel. And I put a Hydro Boost unit on it, which is this blackened piece here, because it was leaking. It was pouring out fluid between the master and the booster. It was pouring out not brake fluid, it was pouring out power steering fluid, because the booster works off the power steering system. Okay. So, customer had the truck, and something happened, and the pressure line that comes out of the Hydro Boost unit and runs down to the box, that line actually broke, and it started pouring out fluid. Okay, whatever. I mean, they're original lines. You know, they're 20 years old now, and things happen. Whatever. Okay, so we went and put a line on it. So I put the line on it, I started up, and the power steering pump was growling. I mean, bad. I couldn't get it to stop growling. All right, well, it probably ruined the pump in the process. Now, this thing, what had happened before was he had run it low multiple times with the initial leak. We had fixed that, everything was fine, and where the line blew, the original line ran down along the frame rail, and it was actually clamped to the frame rail, and where the clamp was, it was a metal strap clamp. Where the metal strap clamp was, it had rubbed through and was pouring out. So, anyway, I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to put a pump on it too. So, unfortunately, I didn't make a video of any of this. I couldn't do it at the time. So, I go and I put the pump on it. And then a weird thing happened. I get the pump on it, fill it with fluid, I go and start it up, and usually what I'll do is I'll start it up and shut it right off. And because what that'll do is it'll suck in fluid, and it'll bleed out some air, and you'll get air pockets and everything else, bubbles. I went to do that. Nothing. I had no bubbles, I had no nothing. I had no steering assist. I'm like, okay, what's going on here? So then I go and I double check the fluid level. All right, still full. I crank it over real quick. You know, I start it, shut it right off. Nothing. I had no steering assist during that initial, like I hold pressure on the steering wheel, start it, and usually you'll get the steering wheel jerk a little bit because you get some pressure in it. Nothing. All right. I start it up and I actually leave it running. I take the pressure line off at the booster. This is the pressure line right here, right from the pump. That's directly from the pump. I took the line off. I got nothing. I had it in my hand with the truck running. Nothing coming out. I could put my finger over the end of it. Nothing. Like, what the heck, is the shaft broken inside the pump? I've seen that before. Couldn't figure it out. I actually got another pump, thinking this pump is defective. Got another pump, put it on. Exactly the same thing. Okay. I sat there and I actually had the line off, and I was spinning the pump by hand at first just to see. And it felt, like it was connected inside, but I had nothing. What the heck is going on? I started back up and I'm trying a few things. I can't get any pressure out of it. I had the line completely off. I jacked the front end back up. I had it up on a lift. I pick it back up and I start manually cutting the wheels. Because what happens when you manually cut the wheels, it'll force fluid through the line. So I'm figuring maybe this ain't just completely airbound, but it's weird because it wasn't making a sound. Usually you get that type noise. Nothing. It wasn't making any noise. And you could look at the fluid. It wasn't moving. Usually you could see some kind of movement. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. So I'm like, man, this is really, really weird. I've never experienced this before. Could I possibly have another bad pump? It's possible. I kind of doubted it, though. I don't know why I doubted it, but I did. So what I wound up doing, and like I said, I have never in my life experienced this. Ever. What I wound up doing is I had a hand vacuum pump. One of those little mighty vacs, you pull the trigger, it's got a gauge on it, and what it'll do is it'll put vacuum down a tube. You can use it for multiple different things. You've seen me use it to bleed brakes and stuff like that in the past. So what I did was I actually had the line off, and I took a hose and I made it fit onto the end of the line. Right here. So I made the hose fit on the end of the line, and what I did is I had the hose go into a reservoir, and then inside the reservoir I had another line coming out. And the reason for that is, this way, if it did suck fluid through, the fluid wouldn't come through and go into the hand pump. So I started putting vacuum on it. And it's holding vacuum. What the heck is going on? I mean, it was holding a vacuum. So now I'm thinking, Well, if the other line on the other end, basically it's pressure from the pump to the Hydro Boost unit, out of the Hydro Boost unit, it's still pressure that runs down to the steering box. Now that's the line I replaced. So I'm like, could that line be blocked? And I'm like, wait, that doesn't make any sense because I have the line disconnected before that, so it should be working. I should have something. So then I start cutting the wheels back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And all of a sudden I see the vacuum gauge and the needle drops right to 0. So then I start putting vacuum on it again. Same thing, it holds a vacuum. But I can watch it slowly start to creep down. And then all of a sudden, it drops. Then I start putting more vacuum to it, and then it sucked fluid through. Oh, that was weird. So then I go and I hook the line back up to the Hydro Boost unit, started it up, and then it starts bleeding out the air in the system. But that was really, really strange. I've never experienced that. So, you know, even considering I've been doing this for 40 years professionally, you run into things that you just never expect to see. It just, you know, it kind of goes beyond what you're used to. And sometimes you got to think outside the box. Like I was kind of baffled there for a minute. It was just very, 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 very odd. And also, here's the thing. When I sucked the fluid through, you would think if there was something blocking it in the line, I would have seen it in the reservoir, in that reservoir that I was holding. There was nothing in it. It was just clean fluid. So what happened? Like, is it something with the new pumps? The new pumps are supposed to be tested before, you know, they send them out. You know, I guess they bench test them, whatever they do. I don't know what happened. But in case you ever run into that, think about it. If you run into that, you put a pump on something, and now all of a sudden you have 0 pressure, or you do any kind of work on a steering system or anything that involves steering lines, now you have 0 pressure, maybe try putting vacuum to it. One of those little Mighty Vac pumps, you can get them on Amazon. They're not super expensive, and they surely come in handy. They really do. It's probably one of my more common used special tools. So anyway, I wish I made a video of it to show you. One day I'll show you. I'll do it on something else, and I'll show you. And we'll go from there. All right, guys. So just want to know about that one. Just thought it was kind of interesting. All right, so that's it. If you're getting something out of my videos, hit that like button. If you could, please subscribe. All right, guys, have a great day. Keep wrenching.